Welcome to the Cincy Postcast. I'm Kevin Wallace, and before we get started with today's episode, I get to tell you about my good friends over at Streetside Brewery, where they have all sorts of fun events going on in the month of February. Let me tell you about two of them real quick. Valentine's Day, okay? Look, you may be scrambling for last second plans. You didn't think of anything. I got you covered. Valentine's Day at Streetside with El Cardinal Taqueria. They have some great plans for you there. It's $30. You get an entree, dessert, pint of a beer or a glass of wine. They got you covered. It's going to be a lovely, lovely little event. Now, if you've already got yourself covered on Valentine's Day, the next night, February 15th at 6 p.m. is a comedy night. And the best part about this is, one, it's going to be a lot of fun. But then the second best part is that it's free. Okay. So you just show up, you have a blast, have a good drink or two, listen to some very funny comedians, and you'll get out of here and you'll have a blast. So Streetside are always running fun events like this. They're located on the east side of Cincinnati, the Columbia-Tusculum area. Go check them out. Good friends of the podcast. We are so thankful to have them on as sponsors, so you should go check them out as well. And a huge thank you for doing so. And on today's episode, well, it's Super Bowl Sunday, and we recorded this before the big game. And congratulations, I'll say Seahawks, on your Super Bowl victory. Well done. But no, we had some thoughts here about what lessons could Major League Soccer learn from the Super Bowl. What lessons could FC Cincinnati learn from the Super Bowl? Well, there's some FC Cincinnati news out there as well, including kit leak. Sasquatch photos out there in OTR. We might have a kit leak, folks. There was also a preseason game where, get this, Kevin Denkey scored another goal. I don't know if you heard, but he scored a whole lot of them this preseason. And we also touch on maybe what could FC Cincinnati do to build the hype this season. We came up with a pretty clever idea. Pretty dumb idea, to be honest, but it felt clever in the moment, so I felt compelled to say clever. But I think if you put all of it together, you will have yourselves a nice little nearing the end of preseason postcast. Joining me to talk about all of that and more, joined by the one and only Chief. Chief, how does the big game day find you?
I like this day a lot just because it brings forward just so many different things that I like about American society.
Okay.
Overconsumption, fixation on big events, insufferable people who like form the counterculture to big events, where it's like today is peak day for the friend in your life that uses the term sports ball unironically. This is their best day of the year. They live for this day. So you got that. I don't know. I like Super Bowl Sunday. It's very interesting to me that this day has the sort of outsized appeal to where I would argue at this point, this is probably a top 5 holiday in the American calendar. I think I would say this. I think there are more people that celebrate Super Bowl Sunday than any holiday other than Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and the 4th of July.
Yeah, I think it's right.
Maybe
there.
Maybe Easter. I don't know. There's enough Christians that is, but the Super Bowl, it's right there in the team photo with all of those, I would say.
Yeah, not only that, it is one of the last moments or the last bits of monoculture that we have in our society. That Bad Bunny performing at the Super Bowl halftime show is a cultural thing. It'll drive the discourse. There's obviously like the weird backlash to it. Like if it doesn't matter, there isn't a weird backlash to it, right? Like nobody's protesting the warm-up act at the F1 Las Vegas, race or whatever. Like it doesn't exist there.
No one protests who sings the national anthem before the NBA finals. You probably can't even name whoever it was that performed at any of these other sporting events.
Right.
It's interesting too that when you talk about it through the lens of soccer, is for my entire adult lifetime, there was sort of this idea is when is soccer going to make it in America specifically? And the idea was always like, oh, well, what will happen? When will it happen? It's the sport of the future. It's going to overtake the NFL at some point. I don't know that was ever in the happenings. I certainly don't think it's in the happenings now. But like, it is weird when you think about like the NFL and the Super Bowl are on a level that is so much higher than other professional sports. And those sports, by and large, are at a level that's higher than soccer in America. Like the gulf between what the NFL is and virtually everything else in society, it may as well be existing on a different planet in terms of sports, entertainment, culture. And the fact that it has this day, a holiday that surrounds it, I think it's unique everywhere else in the world. Like the only thing you come close to this is the World Cup. And that's like over the course of days. Like your match day for your country may be a very big deal, but like it's rare that you get that like, coalesce one single thing and it attracts the attention that the Super Bowl does.
Yeah, I think I think the World Cup final can get close, and I think each year it's getting a little bit closer, at least in terms of
they're adding halftime shows.
Right. Yes. Just in terms of pure viewership, it doesn't have the pageantry. It doesn't have the grocery store sort of reforms itself into the big game headquarters.
Right.
And has all of the spreads ready for you to take out. And the beer is somehow moved closer to the front of the store. Like it is not that, but I do think it is getting there in viewership. I do think it's interesting though, looking at the other sports that are not MLS in the United States, they are all doing best of series. And I do think that takes away from the moment. Like, I do think like a game 7 of any of them is really big and huge and interesting because it is the one time you get to this. It all comes down to one game. I really appreciate that. Like, I know it like doesn't necessarily decide the best, but it makes for the best sports viewer, moment.
Yeah. And what it also does, because sort of the idea, I think, behind the original Super Bowl, I'm not, the biggest NFL historian type person, was they were replicating for professional football what the major bowl games like the Rose Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, what those were for college. You might have named it the Super Bowl. Like, we were putting ourselves one more than or one higher than all of these other bowl matchups. And because it's one day and because it's modeled on those, when you have to go to a bowl game, this is not just a recent thing. This is a thing for, going back into college football history, is that there are events and activities that lead up to the bowl game, and there's pageantry that surrounds it, and there's, pomp and circumstance. Yep. It's why all these college bowl games have bowl directors that make millions of dollars to host one event per year. It's the most corrupt thing ever. But like the Rose Bowl, famously, the parade of roses that would, happen and that would be a part of the lead up. So when you have that like one game, like the Super Bowl is, it allows you to push all of the pomp and circumstance into that day and the days leading up to it, to where, you're going to have like a flyover from half the Air Force. You're going to have 4 people sing songs before that are like famous recording artists beforehand. You're going to have the most famous recording artist in the world performing at halftime. There's 2 weeks now of breakdowns and analysis and build to this event. When like you watch the NBA finals, it's jarring almost to see. It's like, okay, they don't show any of the pregame stuff anymore. They don't even show intros of the players on TV anymore. You like cut from, Kendrick Perkins and Stephen A. Smith on ESPN, and it goes right to tip off. And it's like, well, this just feels like any other Tuesday night game that you're watching ever. But with the Super Bowl, you never feel that. It never feels like, oh, this is just another NFL game. And it is funny how, like, yeah, the World Cup is definitely trying to, and even the Euros are definitely trying to push the envelope, and they're pissing people off with, well, we're going to extend halftime so we can have a performance at halftime. That's making people big mad around the world.
And I can understand it to a degree of, like, it's just anti-Americanism being like, we don't want our sport to look like that, or what they are doing. But there's been influences back and forth, right? The NBA famously added a cup competition in the middle of their season, so I don't think people were necessarily mad about that. Their enthusiasm will sort of rise and fall whether or not their team's winning it. So I definitely think there's something to be shared there. But the other thing the NBA or the NFL does really well that the other sports can't do, and MLS could, is the idea of Radio Row at the Super Bowl, where every single sports related show is broadcasting live from the shadow of the stadium where the game is going to be held. And you literally have guests just like walking down the line doing hit after hit after hit after hit on radio stations.
They call it the car wash, that everybody just walks down and you're just going down the conveyor belt and doing like all these different radio shows.
But it builds the sense of like, oh my God, everybody I listen to, everybody I watch, everybody who's anybody in the sports space, not even necessarily NFL, sort of the catch-all sports shows and stuff are all there, and it builds up the hype to it. I mean, so much of MLS's media is like people working free second jobs, but it would be nice to have a sort of couple of days lead up to the MLS Cup of Soccer Wise is there, and the Total Soccer Show is there, and all the other team specific league wide things are all there, and it's former players, it's former coaches, it's current players are all there interacting. I think it would build some degree of hype, not to mention obviously you try to get as many of the actual live large catch-all sports programming that you can get there, but I think there's could be a little bit they could replicate.
I think there is too. In fact, like I was actually having this exact same thought yesterday when I was at the gym, was this like seeing clips from Radio Row, like, oh, that would be something. Like I was going to bring it up to you and Grayson at some point, like, because it's not pressing right now, but like, do we do something like that? Do we reach out to some of the other people that are in this space and say, hey, we're planning on going to MLS Cup. Do you guys want to go? Are you guys going too? And if like 5 or 6 or even 10 of people that do this are saying, hey, we're going to go, then it's okay. Maybe it does make sense to have, someone like a Tom Bogert or someone reach out to the league or reach out collectively to say, hey, we're all going to do this. Is there anything that you can do to accommodate and to make it worth our while to all be there, while simultaneously you guys get the benefit of having a Radio Row that you can show off and you say, hey, look at all the people that are here. There's excitement building. But then what I realized is the reason why that can't happen in MLS. It can't happen in MLS because if you want to do Radio Row for the NFL, for the Super Bowl, right? You could have made all of your plans 6 months ago or a year ago because you knew where the Super Bowl was going to be. And with MLS Cup, you're often not finding out where you're going to be going until the week of, where it doesn't make sense to, they'll send someone like Mo Egger out to do Radio Row, or, like my old man's done Radio Row before. They'll send someone out to do that. If you can tell your employer, hey, we can buy the tickets now. It's 5 months in advance. Flights to San Francisco are only this much. We can get hotel space now before it all books up. And it makes the trip a little cheaper. Now, you're always going to have flights jacked up for that weekend because everybody knows it's Super Bowl weekend. But even still, it's a big difference than on a Monday saying, I'm going to look and see how much flights cost to Austin on 72 hours notice, where the answer is going to be, wow, I can't really justify doing that.
Yeah, you're almost better off like, okay, could we charter a private jet that flies around and picks everybody up?
Like it almost makes it almost makes like the idea of doing it like MLS All-Star Weekend a more enticing probability, just because you know where that's going to be in advance. But then what you're losing like, what is it that makes MLS Cup, like what you're losing that idea that this is there to serve as to make the championship game bigger. So I ask you, is it time for the sake of the content creators to talk about neutral sites for MLS Cup? Won't someone please think of the content creators?
So this is an interesting point. So in the past, MLS did do neutral sites because obviously all of the owners are NFL owners, or at least they were back then. And so, of course, that's all they knew. And of course, attendance was terrible, largely because you still had a lot of teams in NFL stadiums. So you were like, booking in advance Arrowhead Stadium for LA Galaxy, New York Red Bull. It's like, okay, well, that's not going to sell 70,000 tickets. But now I do think you could do it. And the other thing is, Chief, I'll hand it to the league once again. The pivot to the winter schedule now puts every market on the table for a potential MLS Cup hosting site in late May, early June. There isn't a market where that's not a good idea. And so suddenly Toronto, the new New York Stadium, all the way to Miami, Austin, as you mentioned, like they all become viable sites. There's smaller stadiums anyway. I think they could absolutely, if the league was committed to making MLS Cup an event, I think that they would have to intentionally forego the extra ticket sales, the hike in ticket sales, and just making it an event for like 5 years. And then it could probably live on its own. But that means talking to all of your season ticket holders and saying, all right, we're doing a lottery. You get, $25 tickets if you want in, and sell literally half the stadium to each team season ticket holders. Obviously leave yourself a nice big chunk for all your corporate buddies or whatever. Right. I'm not above the game there, but I think you could have a really, really cool setup. And then the higher seed gets like that stadium supporter section. Maybe that's the way to do it. And I like that. You can have some fun with it.
You would have to, like you said, you would have to be willing to, for the first couple of years, possibly take it on the chin a little bit with not being able to charge premium prices, in order to, like, if you were going to host MLS Cup someplace like Columbus or Cincinnati, you would have to make the price enticing to where you first offer the ticket blocks to the Western Conference team playing, then the Eastern Conference team playing, and then whatever's unsold, put them on sale locally to fans here of whatever team it is. And you got to be willing to eat the fact that maybe the get-in price is $20 for a couple of years until it becomes a capital T thing. But if you do that, all of a sudden, I think it becomes a lot easier for the league to get the halo programming and things that you need in order to make it an event. Like you can set up that, the stage build and the thing you will need to have a big pregame or fan zone experience. You'll be able to get the artists involved and the setup and staging involved to do a big halftime thing. You can get all your media partners and dipshits like us together and commit to going and have it be a build up over the course of a week. You could do like a fan fest. That's like the NFL does around the Super Bowl, where you can't get tickets. Here, come learn more about the league, do cool stuff, have the dreaded partner activations, word I hate. But if it's, I know, right? But like if it's all in one spot already, then you can set all that up in advance and you can do it. But I mean, I think you would have to be intentional on the league, and they would have to do the one thing the league doesn't want to do, and that is to spend money with no guarantee of an upside to it. Like maybe lose money for a couple of years. And amusingly enough, the best year to have done that was last year.
Yes, it was.
you would have had Lionel Messi in the MLS Cup final, and it would have been wherever he would have gone. I can tell you, having scalped tickets, sold my tickets to Lionel Messi games, people would have been very interested from regional, global to go to a destination to watch Lionel Messi play that game.
Yes, and it would guarantee you end up in a good situation. Like there's a possibility, however unlikely, but there's a possibility that Dallas could host MLS Cup this coming season. And Dallas's stadium is undergoing massive renovations where they can only fit 10,000 people in the stadium. That's just not a good product. That's an option. NYCFC has been threatening to host an MLS Cup forever. It's not clear that they would know where they would put it this year or any other year. So, yeah, you could guarantee yourself the nicest, newest stadiums. And I know they kind of do that with the All-Star game, but then this lets you do a little okey doke thing where the newer, nicer stadiums get MLS Cup, and then you're sort of, let's just fully embrace the corporate speak, your legacy brands can get the All-Star game so that you can, try to encourage them to be more relevant. Because like right now, it doesn't make sense to host the All-Star game in like Kansas City, for example. But if all the fancy new places are hosting MLS Cup, now it makes a perfect sense to drop it in Kansas City or whatever. To be clear, it's not clear if an All-Star game is going to exist in the calendar shift. I assume they don't want to get rid of it. I just don't know exactly what that's going to look like. It may never be able to go to a winter, a northern market ever again. But who knows?
Yeah, the All-Star game is going to live sometime in that break. It may end up being like the sort of like 2 weeks, a week before the season starts, the All-Star game happens, or the week after the first season ends, the All-Star game happens. Or it just might go away. But to me, it's like I think it's a risk worth taking for MLS. I think at some point you've got to, if you want to be the NFL and you want to replicate what it is that makes that successful, I think that then you look at doing things and the ideas that the NFL has that are good. And the Super Bowl is an idea that the NFL has that is very, very good. It's proven. It has we're seeing what the value it brings right now. And not for nothing too. It would be the most American thing that MLS could do that isn't like, oh my God, here's the Americans doing the American thing again. And on top of that too, I really do want to get to a place in American soccer discourse. And I think we're close. We just need some more truthers involved in this. I do want to get to a point where we get to a point in American soccer discourse where we do treat the winning MLS Cup playoffs as the major accomplishment it is, but recognize that it's almost like a postseason tournament, that it really isn't the season, that it is a true postseason tournament. And we crown a winner of that postseason tournament. And it's almost like our own little version of Champions League within MLS, that you qualify for the postseason tournament, you play the postseason tournament, and that winning that has, it's incredible. It's awesome. You get to play in this game with a lot of pomp and circumstance, but also it really does separate it from the regular season. And then the Supporters Shield then becomes a co-equal trophy with the two of them, which I think would be pretty cool if they were able to do that. And just it further differentiates that, you're losing home field advantage in to win MLS. It's like, well, no, that was the Supporters Shield is where home field advantage really matters. Once you get to the MLS Cup, we're removing that because it's just a different thing than your regular season.
Yeah, and we are so close to that being more viable with we haven't seen it exactly, but the sort of single table proposal with clusters or conferences or divisions is what they were called.
Right.
Divisions where you just sort of make up the numbers for the schedule. But otherwise, it sounds like starting in late 2027, every team plays everybody at least once, which I think just only elevates the Supporter Shield. I think that's kind of the way to look at it. I think that would be a lot of fun. I had a really dumb idea. Let me just bounce this off of you.
That's the postcast. They're all dumb ideas.
Instead of the typical semifinals and then 2-week break to the final, what if you do the same neutral site hosts both the semifinals and the final, and you just make that whole week a thing? It's a lot of lost ticket revenue for the teams, but you would truly make that event, that week in that city an event.
This discourse is going on in the NFL right now. Like, I think Mike Florio posted a thing where the NFL has kicked around in the past using neutral site locations for the AFC and NFC championship games, precisely for the reason that we can make these bigger events, and also to remove the factor of, shitty weather impacting the outcome of a game. Like, came back up and bubbled back up after that awful AFC title game where it was played in a straight blizzard and there was no offense to speak of for the majority of the second half.
Well, I don't know. There was the sort of the Hamlin abandoned game between the Bengals and the Bills, which would have potentially forced. Yes, it
would have resulted in, if the Bills would have beaten the Bengals in that playoff year, and then they would have had to play Kansas City, they would have had to play it at a neutral site, I think in Atlanta, where they had already sold, they'd sold the game out on prospective tickets for, like, if this then becomes the AFC championship game, this is what it would look like, and this is where it would be. But then the Bengals won, and it ruined that alternate history timeline that we could have all experienced there collectively.
But they were flirting with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope MLS looks at doing something like this. Even still, like, to the greatest degree possible. I think my big takeaway is that MLS needs to do more to make MLS Cup feel like this, and if to do that, you have to spend and lose money to get someone who, you're not going to get Bad Bunny probably, but like, get it someone that somebody has heard of to do a big ass halftime show. Who does the halftime show for the NFL? Apple Music is the headline sponsor of that. They do that. You would think there would be possibly somebody would have somebody's phone number here between Apple and MLS, and they could get the ball rolling on this a little bit. But like, they do need to do more to make the general population aware of MLS Cup, because not for nothing, we were talking about it before we started taping. Like, we were like, what are we doing? What are we going to talk about today? Like, the league is very out of sight, out of mind for people that aren't in the Apple ecosystem, that aren't subscribing. They are more and more narrow casting to the converted and the believers. And if you're not one of those people, you never stumble across the game. If your friends are talking about it, you have to make the decision if you want to buy a $99 pass in order to like join in the conversation. So the barrier to entry is a little steep unless you're really convinced you're going to use it. Now, dropping it down to the free tier of Apple TV, okay, you can at least say there's some value proposition there to say, well, you can also watch these shows and do these things too. Yeah, sure, fine, whatever. But to the greatest degree possible, I think MLS needs to embrace doing things that brings it front and center to people that don't interact with it as a product very often.
Yeah, well, Major League Soccer, it does a stupid thing sometimes where, like, where it has history, it will constantly just mess with it and like not anchor itself to some sort of longer American soccer lineage. Whereas like the NFL is more than happy to claim like, the whatever Maroons from 1912. It's like, no. That's the Arizona Cardinals. Believe us. Like, okay, sure. Yeah. Why not? But then where they don't have history, it's like they're too afraid to just pick and choose what works and what doesn't work from these other sports in the United States. Like the Super Bowl is obviously like this big sporting event. Why would you not try to learn as many lessons from that? And again, the Super Bowl was not like the giant money maker that it is today. It is shockingly late. If you go back and like look at like the history of halftime performers, like even into the 70s, the halftime show was like dude on homemade jetpack. Like it's not the thing until you really get into like the 80s and 90s.
It didn't become a thing until people started the idea of counter programming halftime at the Super Bowl to get you to tune away. To where like back in the 90s, there were things like, the WWF would have a match at halftime, or like Beavis and Butthead would have a special thing that would start exactly the moment that the Super Bowl halftime hit, and you would watch that. And the NFL got into this arms race with like, no, you're not going to change the channel. That channel is locked in. People are paying millions of dollars to advertise on this. The idea of you touching your remote at any point, like it hurts us to our core like a knife to the chest. We are not going to allow you to do that. Here's Michael Jackson, and you're going to watch him. And here's Prince, and you're going to watch that. And we dare you to be the only one in your family that turns the channel off at halftime. It's like, yeah, that's what that was for. It was all about being something that you could not ignore. And yeah, I would love to see MLS replicate that, because I think it'd be fun to do Radio Row at MLS Cup. I think that would be neat, and I think the league would see immediate benefit from just getting more people, traditional media, non-traditional media, just getting more people somewhere to write, talk, and produce about the league. Because yeah, like right now, it feels like they're missing opportunities in this space, I would say.
Yeah, there probably is something, just to give them a smidgen of credit. There probably is something to be said for, like, in this moment, you're probably going to get drowned out by the Super Bowl and the Winter Olympics anyway. So, like, launching some giant advertising blitz.
I forgot the Winter Olympics were even going on until I saw like the Lindsey Vonn thing. I was like, oh, that started? Cool. I'm going to watch a little bit of that.
Which, by the way, the most annoying thing in the world. I absolutely hate this. The Olympics is doing this more and more. Is beyond stupid. The week's worth of events before the opening ceremony.
Right.
Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, just start the opening ceremony earlier. There is no, like, it's not like the 10 commandments list how long the Olympics go for. Just add a couple more days. Right. Who gives a shit?
I don't
It's already a scam.
Or like, the opening ceremony is like a ticketed, choreographed event. You can do it whenever. You can probably do it months in advance and just broadcast it everywhere else. Or it's only whatever fit in the San Siro are going to see it live. Like, you don't need to do that.
That'll be what MLS does. They won't go to a neutral site MLS Cup, or they won't do any of these plans we've been talking about, but they will add an MLS opening ceremonies thing that happens somewhere where it turns into like this avant-garde production where everybody buys tickets to watch the various clubs walk in, and they'll think, yeah, that's how we do a big event. That's what people love to see. Like people dressed up in weird costumes, dancing and using odd symbolism that we all fight over for the next week.
Okay. Oh, man. Do you remember there exists maybe 5 artist sketches of Cincinnati bidding for the 2012 Olympics?
Dude, this is like one of my favorite alt history topics. I could go on for like a long time on this. That if you are not of a certain age, you have no memory of this, but like people genuinely were trying to convince us in Cincinnati that we're going to make a serious push to host the Olympics. And there is artwork out there that shows what Cincinnati would have had to build and do. There would have been like an Olympic village down on the river, past the Brent Spence Bridge. They were going to build a marina to use like sailing, and they were going to put a roof on Nippert Stadium to host events. Like it was going to be batshit, the stuff they were doing. It's a full roof on Nippert.
Full roof on Nippert, which would have included the Memorial Hall, which is at the end of Nippert, which is insane. That is suddenly indoors now. And that was to host gymnastics.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. The beautiful marina design that would have completed the banks. Imagine essentially what we have with the banks now, but just like continuing on. You talk about like, the bridge forward and the new Ben Spence Bridge. We're talking like a full reclamation and redesign of that entire area. And what was interesting, Chief,
to host some of the swimming and the sailing stuff, I think, right? Yeah.
Yes. So they're going to host the swimming and sailing. They were going to throw bones to like Louisville and Lexington. We're going to get like the horse events, which was nice. But the down in that rebuilt marina was going to be an 80,000 person track and field stadium that would have then converted to a 35 or 40,000 person MLS stadium. They had the thought back then.
Yeah. No, there is a very, like, again, with the alternate timelines, there is a very weird Cincinnati alt history that begins in this time period that starts with Cincinnati winning the Olympics and then voting for regional mass transit in the early 2000s. And I don't know what that city looks like right now. It may like be one of those things where it turns into a bombed out hellscape because you can't change the past too much without the past pushing back. But there was a fascinating time period where this city was really, really dreaming big.
Man, that would have been so cool. You would have had 3 riverfront stadiums, and say what you will, maybe not the best use of riverfront property, but like just like the beautiful design, the marina there, it would have been incredible. Yeah. It would have been awesome.
Look the photos up. Maybe we'll post them in the Discord when this episode drops. But there is there's some cool shit out there, and we would have been in MLS in the late 90s instead of waiting for 2019. So we got there, but in true Cincinnati fashion, we got there about 25 years too late. But then if we would have done that, Kevin, I would never have gotten involved. I would have been too young to be, really part of the movement for FC Cincinnati. That means I probably don't meet you. I probably don't meet Grayson. Entire trajectories of lives changed in that moment. I know Grayson probably enjoys this timeline a lot more, never even come into contact with us.
Grayson is ruining this so bad. It just absolutely, his dream world was just swept by him.
Yeah, he's doing the slingshot around the sun time travel to go back in time and make this happen right now. He's going to erase us from existence, baby.
Oh my God. Well, Chief, if all of that had happened, we would not have had the 2026 MLS kit for FC Cincinnati leak on the internet.
This is the longest the longest setup to lead into the first topic in the history of the show. All in service of we if all that would have happened, we would have never gotten the 2026 new away kit reveal for FC Cincinnati. And Kevin, I got to know from you on this. Scale of 4 to 22. How are we ranking this?
12.
12?
I think I'm a known kit hater. I don't know if I've articulated this thought in a while. I don't care about the kits. My only thing is I wish we had an identifiable identity, which is about a unique signifying identity that was like, oh, it's that's an FC Cincinnati shirt. Like the Galaxy has the stripe, or the sash, I should say. I would like something, diamonds or hoops or something. And maybe this is sort of an allusion to diamonds as our thing. It's fine. I'll take it. But other than that, I don't care. As long as it's not like a giant penis or something, like it's probably
even
fine.
then I'd probably buy it. To be honest, it's gotta support the fellas.
That's true.
Really appealing to the new Heated Rivalry crowd on Netflix with that one.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, clearly the Heated Rivalry kit. It's fine. I don't know. I'm bothered a little bit that we're not primary orange on the road and primary blue at home. And I don't know if that's because the league always wants you to have one white kit so that in case you run up against another team that's solid color for the road. I don't know. Yeah. I have never been a fan of the team's kits that are primarily white, just because I think that the designs have been poor. I think the last white kit that I actually liked was back in the USL days, and everything since then has just been kind of there. This is fine, I think. Yeah. It's a little busy on the front for the sake of being busy, and it doesn't really have any definable design elements to it, but it's an away kit. It's new. I'll buy it. Who am I kidding?
I love the marketing speak for all the kits, first of all. But this one was like, oh, it's the 7 peaks for the 7 hills. Like, oh, okay. But like, that's not how hills work.
Right.
You could tell me that if the design was going up and down. But
Right.
it's running down the shirt, so they're horizontal. I don't know what your hills or mountains or peaks look like, but they don't go sideways.
Right. I do yearn for some simpler kit designs and maybe a little, just, I don't know, like a classic look. I think like we have done better. Like I like our home jerseys right now because it's just a classic, very simple look. I liked the orange away kits that had the subtle Cincinnati flag branding on them because they had subtle details, but otherwise it was just a solid, really cool looking orange kit. Like that's what I'm kind of looking for. I'm looking for more of when you see like what the Timbers kit designs always look like. They're always they're striking, but they're not busy. Like there's a simplicity to a lot of their kit designs that I really, really like. And I want that. I also want a collar. I want a collar finally on one of my kits. I'm a big collared kit guy.
Yeah, I mean, why not? I don't know why, like the Cincinnati flag thing was awesome. Like that was such a unique thing to Cincinnati, to the kits. Like nobody else is going to do that. So like, why not just do that one again, but make it blue as like the waves and the sea, and then make it one year it's white with the orange waves and the sea. Yeah, your criticisms you just let me notwithstanding, but like just do variations on that. You can make it unique every 2 years, but like then the team playing with the literal flag of Cincinnati, that's the Cincinnati team.
Yeah,
you can do variations within that, but like stick to that identity. I don't know. That makes me sad.
I know that they designed these well in advance, and I know that the team has minimal input on. They have a little bit of input, but at the end of the day, you're using what Adidas is willing to do for you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've heard the process is insane. So the process was described to me that Adidas asks whoever's in charge of this at FC Cincinnati, asks them to put together like pages and pages of inspiration and like a dream board and all these visions and designs and everything. And they have to submit like this massive portfolio to Adidas, but then Adidas turns around and gives them one design back and says, okay, you can make one change to this.
Right.
That's it. That's the entire design process. And that happens 2 years in advance of what we see today. So like, half the people that worked on this damn thing probably don't even work for FCC anymore.
No, and I would say half the people, the majority of the people that worked on this have never been to Cincinnati. That on the vision board, if they say the 7 hills of Cincinnati, have no idea what that's in reference to. You're lucky if maybe the idea they pick gets a Google or a Wikipedia search at best.
Yeah,
they don't know. They don't care. And it's whatever their spin on what that means is what you're going to end up with. This is how you end up with the Tampa Bay Mutinies logo being a mutant bat. It's like if you don't know what any of these words mean that you're being asked to consider on a vision board, then you're going to come to some really weird conclusions about things.
But I loved that the kit leaks via a watercolor painting of the kit.
Yeah,
followed up a few hours later by somebody, I guess, just photographed leaving the stadium, I guess, for the video shoot of the reveal video, just walking out with the kit. That's nice.
It was our version of the Bigfoot photo where it was kind of blurry and you could tell something was going on with the design, but also it looked like it was taken on a potato and zoomed in.
Yeah, where was it? Was this person on like the Carew Tower, like
zooming
all the way in? Like,
or like when you're zooming that far into something, I'm always curious, like, what was your intended target when you were shooting this video here?
What were you looking at before this dude?
What windows were we peeking into here? I got some serious questions about all this.
But what's funny is you need both of them. So like the blurry photo by itself doesn't get you anything. And like the watercolor painting is like a fan idea, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody had sort of heard that like there is a sort of vague diamond 7 hills design to it. But it's those two in tandem. You go, I got it.
Now I know what's going on here. It's fine. Should have been revealed months ago. We haven't seen a hype video of it yet. The club hasn't revealed it. I think it's just like leaked online at this point, right?
I think that comes on Tuesday, the 10th, I think is the official reveal party. So that's when we'll get the video and all of that. Maybe we get the video on Monday and then the party on Tuesday. But
I would love it if they did another one of those videos where it was like Admin was informed to make a kit reveal video 15 minutes ago, and just Nick Hagelin walks onto it being like, buy it now.
That's what they all should be. I can't tell if this is, I've got two ideas here simultaneously. You see a handful of these kits get leaked via the other professional teams in their city that are playing in the winter. Hockey players and basketball players are clearly being gifted these kits in advance and then wear them in the sort of pregame walk up to the locker room. They get photographed, it makes it to social media, and then it leaks. It makes a ton of sense that would be done as a sort of like guerrilla marketing technique. But I know how precious these things are to the clubs and like holding them back. It feels like genuine mistakes. I don't know which one it is.
Right. Because the funny thing is that like we all love the kit leaks, but there is someone at each one of these clubs just absolutely pounding their desk, like a hole in their desk, that they had worked so hard on this kit release video and this marketing blitz. And there's going to be billboards that go live and they've got all this planned out. And some dipshit gets a photo of it and throws it onto Discord. And it's like, oh, you got to be kidding me. We were so close to keeping it locked down this year.
Yeah, it's like at Dick's Sporting Goods like 2 weeks early. You weren't supposed to see that.
It's for sale on DHgate already, and it's just like, you gotta be kidding me, man. How? Yeah.
The same factory where they just made all of them is also selling the DHgate versions.
It'll look great with a star over it. That's all I can say about it. So let's get to work on that.
That's what I want to hear.
What else going on? Oh, we got a preseason friendly, right?
Only thing we have to talk about.
Yeah.
DC. Detroit City. And we won what? 1-0?
Of course we won 1-0. It's what we do.
Kevin Denkey, 3 for 3 in the preseason so far.
How's the rest of the team doing? What are they?
I don't know.
That's 0 for 3. The remainder, Kevin Denkey versus the field. 3 for Kevin, 0 for the field currently.
Yeah, or even negative, depending on how you want to count the goals. This is the thing where it's like, again, we talked about this last week. As much as you want to, if you truly want to care about the preseason, these are bad results. If you don't care about the preseason, trust that it'll all come together. And they're working on weird things. I guess we did see in the lineup a Gidi, Obi, Buka, Evander midfield. So that's neat. You can kind of come up with different permutations from there.
If you look at the way that the lineups went, the first half and second half, it's pretty easy to see that they were playing some variation of like a 5-3-1-1 or like something where like you got your back 5, 3 at the midfield, Evander playing in a more attacking above the midfield, and then Denkey is the sole striker, which is also, you could say it's also a 5-3-2, but just Evander is playing the second striker role further back. But if you look at the second half lineup, we have no way of how it was deployed, but if you track the substitutions, it looked like they were playing a 4-3-3 in the second half, which you don't know how these people are lined up. They could have people there could have been people playing wing back that, weren't really, they weren't playing out of position or whatever, but it looked like they might have been playing a little bit of a 4-3-3 in the second half. So from that standpoint, it is difficult for me to get really fired up about the preseason results because if you are genuinely, and it does look like this, it looks like the team is genuinely playing around with different player combinations, trying to see what sticks, what goes forward, what they look like in various, iterations. I'm happy they're experimenting. It would be if they were just running the ones out and running it out in the standard Pat Noonan formation and they were only generating 1 goal a game. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to be worried about that. With this, I'm okay with seeing, what do the patterns of play look like, going back and then taking a look at the film afterwards and saying, okay, what did we do well with this? What didn't we do well? Is there a way that we can coach various things into these setups that like, okay, we saw promise here, but now since you're not used to playing this way, Evander, we need you to be more like this or like that, or we need the midfield needs to step to certain areas with this formation. If that's the case and it leads to a more viable like product going forward, I'm okay with it. But there's no way of knowing that until we actually see what the real games look like.
Yeah, I mean, this is the tricky thing, right? Is we don't get to see it, so we don't get to make informed opinions. But yeah, like you could absolutely see a version of this where they're running out of 4-3-3 and maybe Evander doesn't work on the left wing, but he works better on the right. Let's say they decide to deploy him there. Or yeah, maybe he's back in the midfield and you're trying to figure out what combination of players on either side of him. Does one of Ender or Ramirez play better as a fullback versus one of the attacking wingers in a situation like that? And then breaking my heart, Dado Valenzuela, I believe, was the last sub in to the game. I would have liked to have seen him deployed somewhere else. Who knows? Maybe he had some hamstring tightness or whatever, or he's just genuinely not being rated right now. Or there's other priorities in other positions and things. But yeah, I don't know. I will give them some credit for experimenting, tinkering around a little bit. And if this is the first competitive games with these looks, then you got to give it another game or two to really freak out or get excited. So
I'm very interested in that they started this game. Like I said, it looked like in a 5-3-2-1-1, or, you know, depending on how you consider what that Evander position is, what you really consider he's doing there in that formation. That is interesting because last year they tried to what that position Evander was occupying. That was kind of the Luca Orishano position last year, early in the year, where they were trying to run dueling 10s. And it really didn't work. I think that we all sort of agreed that was not a fruitful look for the FC since the FC last year. But with Evander in that secondary position, what you're doing with that I kind of I'm intrigued by is, number one, you are removing a lot of the defensive responsibilities that Evander would otherwise have, because he is taking the place of a striker. And my take on striker defense is anything you get is a plus. They're not there to do that. But then you add Guidi and Obi into the midfield, and all of a sudden you're defending the midfield with two, I would say, plus defenders. You had Buka in there. I think Buka's a plus defender. So there is now no weak link defender in the midfield, which for how they got beat last year, I think that's very interesting. Now, I would be curious, and again, we don't know because we don't see these things, but I'm curious how much of a trade-off there is with how Denkey likes to play, in terms of when they evaluated that he would benefit from having a big body hold up striker playing next to him. Does this result in Denkey doing his dreaded drift into the midfield to see the ball more? Or does having Evander plus those three midfielders allow him to stay further forward? I don't know based on how this looked, but I'm intrigued. And for that reason, I give the benefit of the doubt to, I'm not going to panic over a result with this, because I think the formation and the deployment is intriguing to me. Yeah. You also have the wingbacks coming in here where, you know, if they're timing their spots right and they're attacking the box with them, you could even have a situation where Evander and, let's say, Ramirez are further ahead, and it's Denkey who's sort of later arriving into the box and being fed balls from the wing or from Evander. So, like, there's different versions of that could absolutely work out where, you do have to work out the timing and the connections and things like that. And yeah, I'm sure Detroit probably took this game as practice for, I don't even know, but I'm assuming they're in the Open Cup as practice for playing, higher salaried MLS teams later in the Open Cup. So can we bunker? Can we absorb pressure and see out games that way? So. And the word that, sort of word from down in Florida is that's exactly what Detroit did in this game. Okay. And to a degree, I think that made a lot of the people feel uncomfortable with how much they were embracing that mentality and how much they were playing this as we're looking at what this game as, like what we would need to do to fight scrap and claw to get a result in the Open Cup against a superior opponent. And, maybe FC really didn't want that when it came for like we have fundamentally different things, fundamentally different goals we're working on. We would like to get out of this healthy and with the ability to say we learned something against playing actual soccer. So that's
right.
You can take it or leave it. That's just what I heard about this game, just asking around a little bit about it.
That tracks. FC Cincinnati did add another preseason game to their lineup. I think this one is interesting for me anyway, for two reasons. One, it is Brooklyn FC. This has been like a long rumored USL team that I am putting some of like the Queens FC team that was rumored to be going in and had like a logo and announcement even that I think ultimately died before it was ever born. But there's always been this idea that USL was going to plant a like flagship New York team that was going to sort of market itself to one of the boroughs specifically. I think a Brooklyn team makes a lot of sense. Up until like 3 weeks ago, I don't think they had an announced player, and suddenly they have a full roster. They're like ready to go. So I think that is interesting. Also, for those of you keeping tabs at home, Peter Mangione is playing for this Brooklyn team. So FC Cincinnati 2 player coming back to play against FC Cincinnati. So that's just fun.
I'd say more famous for some family members than actually anything that he did while he was a member of the FC Cincinnati organization.
I mean, so granted, yes, he has an incredibly famous cousin. But two, I thought he did very well. Infamous fan.
He was fine. He was fine, but like they obviously didn't see fit to return his services. I think that they're changing a little bit about the type of player they target for FC Cincinnati 2, which played into that. But hopefully this game will not be a repeat of Detroit, and like they're allowed to play a little more open and try some different things and try against an opponent that's trying to actually go the other direction as opposed to just lobbing long balls down the field and hard tackling every time you get near the 18.
Yeah, that would be the game I would look for. Like, let me just put a lot of hopes and dreams on a game where I do not know FC Cincinnati's plan for this. That'd be the game I want them to win like 3-0. Just be like, okay, we can like put away like objectively worse team.
Someone else other than Kevin Denkey to score is what we're looking for on that one.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, because I thought about this the other day too. We're like, what, 2 weeks away from actual live, less than 2 weeks away, I think, from actual live FC Cincinnati games.
Terrifying. I had to look at it. I was like, oh, Chief, we're going to have to go back to
two episodes a week.
Like next week or the week after. Yeah.
we gotta sell some sponsorships, man. Fuck going back to two episodes a week. We need some people to pay for this shit.
I know.
Those radio road trips aren't going to be cheap.
That's true.
We're doing it for the love of the league, though. So you're helping us grow the league. That'll be other show stuff. So.
Yeah. There is another thing. I'll have a link again in the description. I'm trying to get Graham on one of the shows here, but hosting a league with Fantasy United, FUTD. They worked all last season on working out the kinks of this game, and they are launching it this year for real. We have a fan zone space where you can join our fan zone to build your fantasy team. And here's the cool thing, Chief. They have partnered with lots of different content creators, lots of different outlets, a lot of folks you've heard of. And we are the second largest one on there.
Love it.
At us go. So that's
how about
cool.
That? All 12 people signed up. That's awesome.
12 people would be larger than a handful of them. So that's good. But yeah, go check it out. My plan is to keep regular tabs on the fantasy league on the podcast. So continue to play it. We'll use the podcast as like a reminder for it. Maybe if I think about it, I don't want to commit to this. If I think about it, I like to shout out the highest score each week on the podcast. Right. It feels like a nice, easy thing to do. So
I'm into that.
We'll see how that goes. I've not played this game, but I've played other fantasy games. It looks very similar. You get points based on how well your players do. So it should be fun.
Nice. Cool. Maybe we'll have the league winner on, and if the league votes on a punishment, maybe we'll cover whatever the punishment is for the league too.
I like this.
Yeah. Maybe the punishment is you have to come on the show as a co-host. We get to grill you about your childhood, and you have to answer all these very embarrassing questions.
Yeah. The winner just gets like a nice gift card somewhere. Yeah. The loser has to come on and explain themselves.
And explain like their poor soccer performance. Then we really dive into other aspects of their personal life where things haven't gone well.
Yeah, what else are you not paying attention to?
Fantasy football, fantasy soccer trauma with the postcast. We're going to explore this all together. It's like
unsolicited, unmedically licensed therapy. It'll be fun.
You have to join our next D&D episode, but you only get a D6.
Yeah, right. Everything you're graded on a harsh curve.
Yeah, no, everything's a critical failure, brother. You're going to have a bad time with this one. Good luck surviving the toy fight, homie.
Oh man, yeah, it almost killed us. Almost
killed us. So yeah, we're back. What were we gonna say?
I was gonna say what was great was talking to Sarah about that. I asked her like, "Hey, did that toy fight like go the way you thought?" She's like, "You guys could have just left." So,
no.
We had to beat the shit out of those toys.
Wait, no, it was suddenly very important that we concluded that with victory. We don't run away from problems on the postcast.
Absolutely not.
So we've got 10 days, I want to say, until the FC plays their first game in the Dominican for the CONCACAF Champions League. And then I think we're sitting here on Super Bowl Sunday. I think we're 13 days away from the home opener for the FC against Atlanta United, if I remember correctly. Should
be fun.
Have we done our full season preview yet? Have we predicted game by game? I can't recall. It's been...
No. He doesn't know this yet, but I need to reach out to Jonah to get him on for next Sunday's show so we can do that.
Okay, so Jonah, if you're listening to this, plan to be on the show next Sunday. We'll work out the timing on that.
Yes.
Yes, we got to do that still, because I think that'll be a little revealing on things. And it was a short off season. It felt like it was going to be really long, but it was one of those blink and it's like, oh, we're back with this. And I think that like part of the reason it felt like a short off season is because it wasn't busy. Like that was like, I think this came up on the Discord the other day where it's like, wow, it feels like nothing has happened this off season. Yeah, we expected that. The roster was intact. Like we knew where everybody was. We had all the spots filled. There was not going to be anything that was exciting, which I guess ties this back to the start of the episode where there were no big roster buzz signings for the FC. Mm-hmm. There's really not a lot of, change between this year and the previous year. Feels like the club's got to do something to get a little buzz because the season is rapidly approaching. And I don't think they've been in the news once since their exit in the cup, in the playoffs last year.
Yeah, there needs to be something because like in a lot of ways, and I know lots of people have lots of feelings about this. I think in general, it's a good thing that there aren't massive changes going into this year. We can put aside the gelling conversation going into this year.
No excuse there.
They've had the entire preseason together. Not saying there can't or won't be moves as the year goes on. There always are. But the major moves were all done at the end of the summer last year to build this team. I think keeping Brenner would have helped. But again, Brenner joined last season. So even if he had stayed, it wouldn't be helping us now in February. And yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of reasons to be optimistic for this coming season. I think there's plenty of reasons to be pessimistic for this coming season as well. But yeah, I don't know how you build hype on that. Because like run it back, given the
when you didn't win the title, it's like run it back's a lot of fun when you're trying for a repeat. But like run it back to lose to Miami 4-0 in the playoffs again. I don't know about that one. Homie. Yeah,
even if it was like a loss in penalties or something, you could maybe get away with a run it back thing. But, oh man,
yeah, there's got to be something that the team does to get a little bit of buzz back. Because right now it feels like the fan base is
sleepy,
Sleepy and skeptical, like two S words you really don't want to associate with the fan base a lot. I felt a lot more excitement going into last year because we brought new players on, or not that I sensed a lot more excitement going into last year because everything felt so new. Whereas this year, it's I don't know how you do that either. I don't know what you do whether that's you go on a media blitz with your players and your coaches and remind everyone how successful you've been last year and the year before. And, not for nothing, I would like to hear at this point Pat Noonan say something to sort of address the elephant in the room. And that's that you promised a refresh and it really doesn't feel like anything refreshed. So maybe like to tell the fans a little bit like, okay, this is what you should be seeing this year, or this is what we're excited to do. We want, even if it's just buzzwords, like we want to be more dynamic. We want to be more aggressive. We've taken steps about how we train, that we're doing this differently. And with the fans, what we're expecting the fans to see when they come to TQL Stadium is a high energy, intense, upbeat brand of soccer that takes us to the next level. You almost got to say something like that at this point, just to put everybody at ease and get everybody something to talk about that's positive.
Yeah. I mean, I thought the Kyle Smith signing was groundbreaking and earth shattering, and people should go back and listen to that interview. But
yeah, they can't all be DPs. I guess you got to mix some supplemental guys in there every so often. So I don't know. So it's exciting that the season is starting. I don't know what I'm waiting for to really make it feel like we're about to kick back into gear. I feel like we're just sort of in danger of drifting via inertia into the start of the year. I don't know. It's got to be something good. I don't want a player to get like pulled over and arrested for speeding through Clearwater or something like that. Like I don't want that kind of a story. But
I guess that away game to the Dominican Republic is sort of like the moment before the season, but it's weird. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
it's so weird.
Am I wrong in feeling this? Like that it doesn't, like the season all of a sudden is here, but it doesn't feel like the season is here.
That's a good question. I've got a bigger thought about this, about how so much of our communication is now fractured in like, you're not going to see the hype on Twitter because all the hype is happening in Discord spaces, Slack spaces, Facebook groups, text message, group threads and stuff like that, where it's like, I don't know where that hype exists anymore. Like, like some big thing on local news would be awesome. I don't watch local news.
I don't watch that either. Yeah, I don't watch that.
So like, I don't know that it would get me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of funny. Like, all right, what would be the thing that FC Cincinnati could do that would break into your field of vision? Yeah. Set aside the fact that we like, and it's hard because we kind of live and breathe this a little bit, but like, what would be the thing that you think for even like your friend group of people that your IRL friends are?
Yeah.
What would
like,
break in?
Did you see this?
Yeah. What would break into their field of vision?
I don't know. Like, maybe it would be like a billboard campaign that just like advertises like playoffs every year or something like that. Or, like I'd be tempted to be like, free agency spent the Reds, 25 million, FC Cincinnati, 65 million,
like where else are you going to go? Tickets for sale, like an absolute, something like that.
I know it doesn't play well with the ownership class, quite literally here, but like,
yeah, they'll have to drive together in the village. So I don't know. Right. I don't know if that's going to work out real well.
To see each other at the country club. Yeah. Right. It's not gonna play well.
Yeah. It's going to set the tongues a wagging at Camargo, unfortunately. And we just can't have that. Yeah. I don't know. I was thinking about that too. I don't know what would break into the space of my friends who mostly follow the club, but like the people that don't, I don't know what would break into the space. Kevin Denkey standing shirtless on Fountain Square for a while.
Right.
Just pose with the abs. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's too cold though. If it was a little warmer, I'd be fine doing that move. Sadly the answer is like literally like sign a big player.
Yeah.
I'd be tempted to say like publicly make a bid for Ronaldo, right? Like he's like unsettled in Saudi Arabia and he's threatening to leave and all that. And he comes with a lot of baggage. Let me not acknowledge that. But I think some version of like putting your name out there attached to a big player might be something.
Could this be something like this was a famous bit back in the 70s that when Saturday Night Live was in its infancy, to sort of attract attention for itself, there was a run of like week after week where Lorne Michaels would come out on the show and have a special message that he was delivering to the Beatles, that he was willing to pay $100. He'd hold up a $100 bill if the Beatles would reunite to play the Saturday Night Live, which apparently it was successful enough that it actually got John Lennon to call Paul McCartney and say, have you seen this? Wouldn't it be funny if we took him up on their offer? Which, again, incredible alt history perhaps starts at that point. Right. I don't know. Maybe Jeff Burning needs to do that. Take out a full page ad somewhere promising, Ronaldo this great experience if he decides to come to Cincinnati. And be willing to take it on the chin a little bit from people saying this looks desperate, this looks hacky, but like really commit to the bit that like billboards in Riyadh or wherever it is, like with like trying to lure, or like not even trying to lure Ronaldo specifically, just Cincinnati tourism billboards like around like the facility.
It's just photos of Ronaldo's hometown in Portugal, but it just says lovely Cincinnati.
Right. Like the club runs a contest, maybe where fans like Photoshop Ronaldo into your favorite photo of Cincinnati. And the best one wins like club seats and just keep posting like really bad Ronaldo Photoshops of him, sitting at Skyline, or Ronaldo, at Kings Island, or riding the streetcar.
If you get it to the point where either Ronaldo or his club, or ideally the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, has to make a statement, I think that you win.
That's a winning right there. Yeah. I love this idea, actually.
just meme it into existence. Look, Minnesota signed James Rodriguez. Okay. Anything is possible.
Maybe you try to nag him a little bit. Like, yeah, we're willing to offer you $400 million, but if you don't want it, we're sure Mbappe would probably take it.
Yeah, right.
He'd be a way better player. He would be willing to come. Do you think Mbappe is better than you?
Yeah.
What are you afraid of?
I mean, you could really lean into like the online thing of like, Ronaldo, you can't let Messi, run away with this. You got to come challenge him. You can't keep ducking his greatness. You got to come challenge him. Right. You guys had the best of times in Spain. This is your moment. You got to block the project in Miami.
You got to come here. Messi has you have all your accomplishments, Cristiano Ronaldo, but have you ever come to the United States and attempted to get all of your friends to play on low money deals to build a super team to win MLS Cup? Bet you could never do that, Penaldo.
It's a shame we're not in the Open Cup, because it could be like the one American trophy Messi hasn't won.
Messi may have won MLS Cup, but has he won the prestigious Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup dating back to 1908 or whatever?
Yes. Come on, baby. Look, if I'm in the Open Cup, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm pitching him.
I know he's problematic, but just for the LOLs, I will say that I am willing, if Cristiano Ronaldo is willing to come to FC Cincinnati, I will pledge to support his salary with $100.
I think the Post
Kevin, will you match?
Pledge. Yeah, the Post will pledge $112 as an entity.
Go. Yeah. Come on. Balls in your court, Ronaldo. Let's do this.
We announced a strategic partnership with Al Nassr, the Saudi Arabian club that he currently plays for.
Or it's like, maybe Carl and Meg and Jeff, they decide maybe we would like to have the Public Investment Fund as partners in this project we call FC Cincinnati. And, Cristiano doesn't love where he's at right now. Maybe a fresh start in the heartland of America can make him remember truly what he loves about life.
I'm imagining a world where Ronaldo comes over on loan for $100,000 a year, and he's back in Saudi Arabia making literally $400 million a year.
Look, Weeby wants people to get creative. What is more creative than money laundering a sports washing project that has gone awry?
I misspoke. He only makes $200 million a year.
Oh, well, then that makes it way easier. He might even qualify for supplemental roster status.
$200 million, I think, is more than all of the MLS payroll combined.
Yeah. Supplemental roster space. He's only hitting the budget chart. He's homegrown, actually, it turns out.
Yeah, that's it. Oh my God, we got his homegrown rights. We drafted him, actually. I know a lot of people don't know that we drafted him.
Yeah, MLS Super Draft this year, first pick FC Cincinnati, Cristiano Ronaldo. You can't do that. Prove it.
Prove it.
Rules are made up.
Actually, we claimed his rights as a 7th round pick when we joined as an expansion team.
Sorry, man. Rules are rules. I'm told he only wants to. I'm told he only wants to sign here. Jeff Birding got the deal done again.
Yeah, sorry. If you want to complain, maybe your owner isn't trying that hard.
He makes more than it costs to build TQL Stadium. Like that would actually be more complicated than the stadium deal for Birding.
You can have one world-class stadium that most people around the soccer world declares one of the best soccer stadiums ever, or a single player for half a season.
A single, like, pushing 40 player for half a season. You might already be 40.
Yeah, I think he's 40. I think he's turning 41 later this year.
Great.
He's very close to scoring 1,000 professional goals. The World Cup is in the United States. He's not happy with his current situation. I don't see any reason why this can't happen.
You, like I said, you want something that breaks into the normies right here. Yeah, full page ad. We are willing to. How much does it cost to take a full page ad out in the paper these days? It can't be that much with circulation declining.
It might be like $50. I don't know.
Could we do a full page ad asking Cristiano Ronaldo to sign with FC Cincinnati? Like in the Inquirer or City Beat or something like that?
I'm going to send an email later today.
Yeah. Because it's all you need to say is that we took a full page ad out. It doesn't matter how good the paper was. It's just saying it was like a full page ad that got taken.
Does the full page ad have to be the first page? We could just get like a random lifestyle section full page ad.
Yeah, I don't care where it's at. I just want to be able to say we took out a full page ad trying to lure Cristiano Ronaldo to FC Cincinnati.
All right, full page ad, ideally sports section, and we'll aim for like a Tuesday.
Yeah,
that'll be perfect.
Chris, can we call you Chris?
Chris, please come to FC Cincinnati.
Yeah, like we're gonna list out like all the reasons why like Cincinnati is a better center of culture than the Middle East, and then follow it up with, and if you're not convinced by this, listen to an episode of the Postcast. Here's the QR code. Scan, listen. And if we can't convince you by listening or by this full page ad, we can convince you by listening.
Yeah.
And we will promise, we will never bring up that thing that may or may not have happened.
But to be clear, if you don't sign,
we're going to bring that thing up. Yeah, that thing is going to be, we're going to thing the thing out of that thing.
Chief, we should probably get out of here before we get in trouble.
Should. All right. Thanks for listening. Fuck Columbus.
The Cincy Postcast is a production of The Post Cincy. You can check us out online at thepostcincy.com. You can also follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky, Facebook, and Instagram. Twitter and Blue Sky, though, you'll find we're a little more active than the other places. We're also on YouTube, where you can listen to this episode if you aren't listening to it already. We are also putting up video content semi-regularly, including the Away Days series. We want to give a huge thank you to Jim Trace and the Makers for providing the music for this episode. They're a lovely band, and you can find more information out about them in the description of this episode. And if you happen to enjoy what you just heard, can I please ask that you like us, that you rate us on whatever app you're listening to, and maybe more importantly than all of that, share this episode with a friend. When it comes up at work, you're talking about FC Cincinnati, I say, hey, I listened to an FC Cincinnati podcast. I think you guys will like it. It would really, really help us out. Nothing helps a podcast travel more than a good recommendation from a friend, family member. That would be awesome. When it comes to the sorting algorithms that control our lives, a 5-star review would be much appreciated. Also, leaving a sort of written review weirdly does more than that. That's how the algorithms work. So maybe say a nice or a mean thing, whatever. Just as long as you give us 5 stars, that'll really, really, really help us out. And if you are looking for more MLS content, check out our other podcast, The World's Gam. Again, a link will be in the description of this episode. That is where we touch on league-wide storylines and news, and we talk about other games and a couple other teams in there as well. I think you will enjoy it if you are just dipping your toes into Major League Soccer. A huge thank you to all of our sponsors, a even bigger thank you to all of our patrons over at Patreon, but maybe most importantly, thank you for listening to this episode.